Today we get to see a woman who had bought a gun only one day previously, needed to protect her family. Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa.
And I'm your co-host, Neil Widener. Today's video comes out of Patterson, California.
luckygunner.com is my go-to resource for in-stock, fast shipping ammunition. Whether you're looking for rifle ammo, handgun ammo, rimfire ammo, or shotgun ammo, go to luckygunner.com for the best place on the internet to find it all in stock and ready to ship. They have stood by us all in this ammo pandemic, giving us great education via their YouTube channel and their ballistic testing as well. Go and check them out and find great ammo ready to ship at good prices.
Dude's coming downstairs because somebody's banging on his door. There's a guy that's known in the neighborhood for being like drunk, belligerent, disorderly. And he comes over and a guy opens the door to him and now the fight is on. He kind of tries to push the guy out of his house and the guy has had it. And the fight is on and he is beating his butt down there in the corner. You can barely see it. Now, his wife is upstairs. She literally bought a gun the day before. She brought it home the day before and her husband is screaming at her that this guy is kicking his butt and hurting him, right? So she comes down and starts to use it. Now the blurring there, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't do that. I could not find a version of it without that. And she empties that gun, all 5 or 6 shots into him. I couldn't tell which. And our perp took the hallway temperature challenge from there. Thankfully, the husband was not badly hurt. The wife was unharmed. I know there's gonna be California jokes here. There's gonna be like, oh man, you can't have guns in California, whatever. Actually, California self-defense laws are pretty good.
They're not bad at all. And if you can get
It's the gun laws that suck.
And there's a time frame. It takes a while to get one.
But
it is what it is.
The gun laws suck, but the self-defense laws are all right. Let's talk about it in the lessons. I really think in the beginning here, Neil, that this is a great argument for something like a doorbell cam with two-way communication. That instead of me having to open the door, I can just talk to him through the doorbell cam and go, hey man, piss off, wrong house.
Yeah, you can tell him scamper on down the way. The other thing that he already has in place is a locked door. And there was no reason to open that door like that. You could, if somebody's pounding on the door late at night when clearly this guy's getting ready for bed or whatever the case may be, somebody's pounding on the door with you kind of frantically like that, yelling through the door is completely acceptable.
It really is. I just can't say enough. I mean, the old school version, right? The high-tech version is to use your doorbell camera. The low-tech version is to yell through the door. And I just can't say enough. And if you've got to go down there, I mean, going down there in a pair of boxers is probably not the best either, right? So you've got no protection from that. You got no shoes on. He's probably shoed. He's probably got clothes on. If he doesn't have clothes on, even more reason not to open the stinking door. And if you could see that on some surveillance cameras, great. And if you got one on the inside of the house, I hope you have one on the outside of the house, right? Not very many people have on the inside, but an awful lot of people have on the outside. To reiterate what Neil said earlier, do not open this door. You have just removed the single biggest barrier you had. I'm not blaming this woman. I think what she did was justified. I think that this husband fought like a lion. Imagine what had happened though if he had just not opened the door and called the cops instead. This guy's beating down my door and I need officers here because he's a known drunk and a problem. It could have avoided this gunfight. Again, I think they're justified, but we're talking about not just being legal here. We're talking about being good, sane, sober, moral, and prudent.
Yeah, and one of the other things that really comes to mind for me, John, is the fact that they have the camera inside clearly means they probably have one outside and you should be using it. But that one inside is really going to remove a whole lot of risk because they took the steps that they had to take here as she came downstairs with the gun and used it. Now there is some video evidence of what was going on, and now we can say, listen, we were in fear for our lives. There was great bodily harm going on, and we had to do what we had to do. So, so they were prepared in that sense. Again, I think it's just one of those things where we think the camera is some sort of whoopee that's going to keep us safe. And all that's going to do is record what happened. And I think they made the right decisions after the guy was in the house. I think opening the door was the wrong decision. And I would strongly recommend to anybody out there to talk through the door. And, I think what we're going to hear is, well, what if it was the police out there? Well, the police will talk through the door to you too. And so, there's no harm in leaving the door shut until you can identify what's going on. And if you've got a camera system, like we've said 3 or 4 times already, you've got to use that.
And listen, the first physical contact was made by the homeowner, but I'm okay with it, right? If you say to somebody, you open the door, you say, get off my property, and he says no, you have the right to use reasonable physical force to enforce that boundary. Not deadly force, mind you, but reasonable physical force. And I think he did use reasonable physical force. I think he pushed him here. That push is okay. Get away from my door, bro. I'm going to close and lock my door, and now I'm going to call the cops. So Yes, the first physical contact was made by the homeowner. I don't care. I think it was reasonable that he did that because once that trespass has been given, and if it's ignored or if it is denied, then you have the right to use reasonable amounts of force. Now, of course, that pissed the guy off, and now we've got a ground fight. Do you need to have some ability to fight off your back, fight from the ground, understand how to control someone's posture? Yes, and I don't think you need to be a jiu-jitsu black belt, but I think maybe 6 months of learning how to deal with pressure, learning how to sweep, learning how to get better positions, get on top and get away, I think would benefit an awful lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's just something that everybody probably needs to be punched in the face once to know what it feels like, to know that they can fight through that. And this guy, I don't know his level of skill or anything. What I admire is the fact that he got punched in the face and he stayed in the game. He knew that he could withstand that, so I'm guessing he's probably had some sort of training to some degree. I don't know what it is. He certainly didn't handle that guy all that well, but probably as well as I would have. So I'm no ninja in any way, shape, or form myself, but I really admire the fact that he stayed in the fight. We made a mistake by opening the door, but I think right now staying in the fight, keeping this guy in control as well as he could, is the best that he could do, and he's doing it.
And listen, that's all we can ask. Remember, attitude is always first, then skills, then plan. Build your skill set so that you know how to use your attitude, and I think our guy did a pretty good job. Now, his wife starts hearing what the heck is going on here, and here's somebody beating her husband in their home, and now what the heck is she gonna do? She literally has just bought a gun yesterday. Is it good for her to come down the stairs with that gun? In a word, absolutely yes. Now you might say, wait a minute, but the guy it's just a physical conflict. Well, that's true, except for the guy's made unlawful entry into their home. He is on top of her husband. He is beating him savagely, throwing fists at him. Does that, in her eyes, rise that she would reasonably believe if I don't do something right now, he is going to beat my husband to death and then he's going to come and get me? I think that she can. I do think that because she's a woman, she's going to get a little bit more leeway here. And obviously in every state in the union, Neil, when you're in your home, you get some increased presumptions that you're acting reasonably, and I think all those worked in her favor.
Yeah, there's no duty to retreat at this point. This guy has made entry into the house forcibly. He's done everything wrong at this point, the bad guy has. He's been super aggressive. He's beat the tar out of her husband. The thing I wonder about, John, is, if she bought this gun yesterday, how much training did she get from that? Clearly it sounds, based on this news story, it's a revolver that she emptied into this guy. Was the gun counter guy a "Here, little lady, this is a revolver that you need, just pull it till it stops going bang"? Luckily she was at pretty much contact distance, so didn't need a ton of training in this case. But imagine if she had to stay on the stairs and make those shots. How do you feel about that? And that's one of the things that comes to mind as I watch this is, man, if you're gonna get a gun to protect yourself, and I strongly recommend that you've got to be trained in it. You've got to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
As an untrained person, though, I do love that she got very close so that she didn't hit her husband. That was a really great decision. And remember, proximity negates skill, right? So you don't have to be highly skilled if you're very close. And I think for untrained people, firearms are often a very effective tool for self-defense. And I'm very grateful that she had it. I think if she'd had a little bit more skills, she might not have had to get so close and might have been able to be a little bit more effective while not putting herself at risk. But I just want to say, I love the fact that she had a firearm, because it made where when that guy took her husband down again and starts beating him again, she can stop that. When if she didn't have a firearm, she would not have been able to do that. And they both likely would have been very badly hurt. So kudos to her.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm second guessing everything that they did there. Yeah, they made a couple of mistakes. I wouldn't have opened the door, and I would have had some training with the gun. But man, when the chips were down and they had to act and react, they did, and they saved themselves.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Now, she also does a couple of other good things here. Okay, the fight's over. She has put enough shots in this guy that he's done, right? He is done fighting. And then, okay, I'm gonna put the gun down and then start to chill. Now I wanna start talking about, remember, your follow-up actions. Remember tap ifs here, right? So our follow-up, we wanna ingrain it in our head so that we can remember the acronym when all the chips are down. T, threat. Is the threat down? Did I hit him? Do I need to shoot him again? In this case, no. A, did he bring any accomplices to the fight? No. P, partner. Is my partner okay, or do they need me? Yeah, he needs a little bit of help from her right now, so she should do that. I, am I injured? So partner first, then me. I'm okay, I wasn't hurt at all. F, what's the condition of my firearm? In her case, it's empty. I recommend a higher capacity than a 5-shot revolver, 6-shot revolver, but she did what she had to do. Now in the next F, follow-up actions. What do I need to do next? I want to get away from this guy. I want to get ourselves to a safe place. And then S, seek help. Go get on the phone with 911, win the fight to 911, and get help on the way. Follow that TAP IFS acronym so that you know what the next step in your follow-up plan is for right after your deadly force encounter. I think this couple did a pretty darn good job other than opening the door, right? Once the fight started, great attitudes, had enough skills, had a plan in place, and covered their asp.